Staying with us, joining us on this conversation about the Naira note is the Dr. Ayodele Shittu. He is an economist at the Department of Economics, University of Lagos. Welcome to the show, sir. Are you there?
Yes, thank you for having me this morning.
Yes, it's just a pleasure.
Good morning, Nigerian.
Such a pleasure having you on the show. So, as an economist, I'd like you to help us have a bit of an insight into what could have gone wrong in the execution of this policy. We're hearing various reports saying that it seems the CBN did not have enough money, new money, to push out to the public. And some of the financial institutions that could have helped to beef up infrastructure saying that they did not know on time. They didn't have time to prepare for this influx of users. As an economist, what do you think went wrong? Where did they miscalculate? What did they do wrong in executing this policy that many have said has been laudable?
So thank you very much. I would simply say that the policy is actually a good one when you look at it from an intentional perspective. However, the implementation is where we are getting it wrong. And I would say that stakeholders' engagement wasn't thoroughly explored. You know, for example, this policy has actually been in place in this country since 2012, and up till now, more than a decade, we are still struggling with how to execute the cashless policy. But, you know, we all woke up last year, and it was, this is going to be the new currency. We're designing the new currency, and after a particular number of weeks, 90 days or 100 days, as the CBN governor has said, that the whole currency ceases to be a legal tender. Do not forget that culture is important. And here we are in Nigeria, we have a culture of holding on to cash. Personally, I'm also struggling with that culture right now. In the last 3 weeks, I've not held cash on me at all. And when I look around, I see the pain on the face of people. And one thing that struck me the most is what kind of information dissemination model did the CBN put in place to sensitize the people, to educate the people? Yes, we know that cashless policy would help have this positive effect, but if these positive effects were not properly harnessed, the negative multiplier effect can consume the positive benefit, which is what we're already seeing now, because people are already feeling agitated. You know, the worry on the face of many people here, it's not about the sum of cash you have sitting inside the bank account, but how much do you even have with you? That's the way we reason. And that perception has to change in a cashless policy regime. But the speed at which we've gone about implementing it is not too good enough to actually influence this perspective of the generality of our people who have grown in a society where we all hold cash, we spend cash, we spray cash, and we just suddenly wake up and that has to change overnight. Change is good, but when you want to implement a sudden change, you may be faced with, I don't want to use the word, people would revolve, and that's exactly what we are facing right now.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to ask about this Naira. The banks and the telcos are trading blame about the ease of using online banking, because another one of the major problems is the network is not working.
It's not networking.
You are trying to transfer. You try and use your ATM. Everything. Now, bank and telcos are trading blame. These ones are saying they need to increase their expand their USD capacity, USSD capacity, and then the banks are saying we have invested over 100 million. So who, I mean 100 billion, sorry. Who is to blame now inside this matter? Because we now who have been forced to be cashless are finding problem. In fact, when your money enters inside the bank through your business, you will not see it in your account. Too.
Yeah.
It will stay with the bank. You will be looking for your money like, you know.
Thank you very much. I will say that we are all to be blamed. Reason being that we are a nation of people that wait for the problem to stare us directly in the face before we start looking for solutions. You know, and there is this Yoruba adage that they say that Ariyale, Ariyawo, Oko Iyale, that is, you had a wife before, the moment you see a new bride, you tend to forget the previous wife in the house. You know, since 2012, I would say, the evolution in the payment system in Nigeria has been evolving. But what do you observe? The moment we get a better solution, we abandon the previous one. Online banking came, ATM came, mobile payments came, PSP. Now, as you're moving into each of these new technologies, we tend to abandon investment in the previous technology, forgetting that this is a nation of over 200 million people, and we are still counting. So, what we are experiencing now is a negligence on our part to invest continuously. One, in capacity building, two, in innovation, and three, in the expansion of our infrastructural base. It's so pathetic that even before the CBN governor pronounced the need for us to change the currency and the enforcement of the deadline, you go to several banks. What do you see? Only 1 out of 3 or 4 ATM machines are working. And you go into the banking hall, you want to use either any of the internet apps. It's so frustrating. And let's not also forget the fact that many, according to information, that many of the tech guys behind all these innovations, the fintech innovations, have also japa, leaving that skill set gap very wide for us to really, you know, consume. The shock is so much, really. Human capital, technology shock, cultural shock. So you can see that we've waited for more than 11 years ignoring this shock, and now it is upon us,
All right.
staring upon.
Let me get a few more questions for you. Go ahead.
Ayodele, so the CBN did a 3-in-1 policy, which is causing us hardship. So they are mopping back cash in system. They are limiting cash withdrawals as well as swapping old notes for new notes at once. Seeing the hardship that this has caused across the country, which would you advise that they should stop as of immediate effect to see if there will be ease in the lives of Nigerians?
I'm caught in between the Red Sea and the Blue Sea. Yes, and I will tell you why. I have actually been looking forward to the day when this cashless policy will be a reality in Nigeria. I think what the CBN should do right now is to work in harmony with all government agencies that matter. I'm a Nigerian, and I keep asking myself every day, where is the Ministry of Information in all of this?
It's
no
defending government.
information, no sensitization going on. When we were growing up, people would have been ringing bells. This is going to happen. This is how you go about it. This is, nothing is going on. All we just hear is that the only government agency now is CBN, which is, of course, we always claim that it is autonomous. But I think this calls for all hands to be on deck. And why do I favor the cashless policy at this point in time? The fact that there has been a decline in the business of kidnapping, business of people looking for money. Sometimes when I pass and I see even uniform men, what do you have? What do you have? The last 3 weeks, trust me, it has gone down. And I think that's a good thing in Nigeria.
Because the police,
really.
police can't collect money again.
Yeah, but
They collect
hardship,
transfer.
the hardship coming with this is becoming too unbearable.
But
and
so,
the
sir,
care is not taken.
as you've said, we all agree that this policy is beneficial on the long term. What we're asking, why is the CBN having such difficulty in prolonging or extending the deadline? People need more time to adjust. People need more time to understand that the cash they have they can't spend it anymore. It can't be a legal tender anymore. So we need a few more weeks to prepare and get our businesses understanding so that those who are buying plantain from the supplier get the infrastructure. So NIBSS can strengthen the infrastructure for online transactions. When they do that, I can pay to get to the farmer to get the plantains. But right now, nobody was prepared for this, and it's just causing a huge drain on the system. Do you think, or why do you think the CBN is having trouble backtracking on this policy, at least for now, temporarily?
Really, I may not be able to say that this is what CBN seeks to achieve with this scheme. However, on a societal level, we are a 99.9 set of people in Nigeria. Change this date in the next 3 months. I bet you we will all go back to sleep again. Those who are supposed to invest in the expansion of infrastructure will go back to sleep. The person that is charged with the responsibility of disseminating information will go back to sleep and will wait for another 1 week or 2 weeks to the deadline before we wake up again.
Yeah, okay.
The big question I ask myself is, do we really have what we call this is the right time to implement a policy?
Yeah.
There is never the right time to implement a policy. However, the deadline has been set. Don't also forget that we also have Nigerians who have also approached the judiciary threatening that if this date is changed, this will happen, that will happen. So every one of us were a stakeholder, and I think we owe ourselves the duty to begin to educate ourselves. Let me give a very good example. I was on the street last night to buy some items, and I needed to use my ATM card. And the man was like, she can never take ATM card. She can never take transfer. I am learned. Honestly speaking, I still don't have any payment app on my phone. I do online banking, and I have to activate token. So there are many occasions in the last 3 weeks where I have forgotten my token back in the office, and I have to drive back to pick the token. So what I tell everybody now is the time for us to embrace payment apps. But
All right.
Look, Dr.
are
Ayodele,
they also functioning effectively?
Dr. Ayodele,
They are not functioning, sir.
There are just so
They are
much
not.
that we can
I
do
agree. They are
on
not.
payment apps.
That's where the issue is right now.
Do you think that Nigerians still need to hold on to cash in some form or some way? For instance, in public transport or in certain shopping, because the system,
vendors.
the people who are suffering the most are those whose businesses need cash.
Beggars.
Don't talk.
I agree with you because ours is more of an informal economy. But I believe that if we endure, it will give back to newer innovations. However, do we have in place what it will take to give support to the people You know, it's very difficult to say. I know that we can endure, but for how long can we endure when there are no visible solutions in sight?
Thank you.
However, I know, and I'm optimistic, that this will give back to newer innovations. The fintech guys are happy now because there are a lot of opportunities for newer innovations for them now to bring on board. And I'm sure with time, many people will embrace that. We shopped in several other African countries where we go, and all we did there to do was to just do transfers, even in the local marketplace. I'm sure with time, our people will embrace that.
Okay. So let me quickly throw this in. We've all analyzed the problem. You've explained to us how there will never be an ideal time for this. But, sir, are you also, you understand the political connotations attached to this policy and how this has led to, yesterday there was a loss of life in Abeokuta, people are protesting everywhere. Do you think that, considering the political undertone, CBN should create an extension till after the election? Or are you also of the opinion that there is a political undertone to this policy's implementation?
I stand to be corrected. Or let me speak for myself now. I do not see any political undertone. And why do I say so? This policy has been in place. It's only that nobody has woken up to say that we would enforce it. But now the time has come. Let's run with it. Tomorrow, even after the election, the new government may come and say, okay, we want to reverse it and we are going back. This is Nigeria. But personally, as an economist and as one who also do researches into the payment infrastructure within the Nigerian financial system, I think I'm happy that I have seen a governor who have chosen to now enforce a policy that has been in place for more than 10 years and nothing has been done about it.
Okay.
So, thank you.
There's a tweet here from somebody, Joy Andy, and she says, I don't even know if we are even thinking of our own Nigerians that are living in the inner villages, way out of cities and towns, who are yet to even sight an ATM machine or even a bank. Because we are saying, yeah, it's a good policy, it's a good policy. No, we are not saying it's not. But what about the people who have not even seen bank in their village or ATM machine? What about the people who cannot even read? They are human too now.
I agree with you that they are human. And one thing I often say is that if only people also appreciate the fact that even those of us in the urban, there are many times prior to this policy implementation that you get to your bank and you'll be disappointed.
Sure. I
have been to several banks on campus, the so-called civilized environment within the country, where I have to reverse almost 3 or 4 times. And when you even ask the bankers, what is wrong with your ATM? They have no explanation. Nobody to complain to, unfortunately. So it's totally not too different. I think we just as a people need to now say to ourselves, we need to be problem solvers as a nation. We are far from it, you know, but I think we are having a new chapter. And what is this new chapter? Let's embrace problems and begin to think of solutions. Let us not wait until these problems begin to consume us.
All right, so let me ask one final question on this, because people are saying that some of the benefits of this policy is that it will help strengthen the naira against the dollar. Is that true?
Naira
wow.
is gaining against the naira.
Wow. I do not believe so.
Wishful thinking.
Yes.
This morning,
because
somebody...
Go ahead.
We have changed, we have redesigned the naira. But what are we saying about our production capability?
Exactly.
The more we produce, the more we sell to the outside world, and the more people begin to demand for our naira. That is when the value of the naira will go up.
All right.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you. We're speaking with Dr. Ayodele Shittu, who is an economist from the University of Lagos. I mean, we've heard from him. It's wishful thinking to think that it's going to strengthen the naira against the dollar. But we know that naira has gained some strength.
But I really
so
like
far.
this perspective. And
Which
there's something he said. I don't know where the...
So it's not 400. Before it was 800 and something. I bought naira, the dollar. Now, for the it's 400 and something naira.
Because naira
dollar.
is scarce now. Naira,
Where,
naira to naira.
there was a time in this December, I bought dollar 700. I bought naira 700. I changed 700
and now it's 400 and something.
400 and something. Yes.
Are you sure? Officially in the black market?
Well, I don't know about black market.
It's always 400 in the
Find
official.
out.
Not official.
Because me, I've not heard
Is it
this
black
one.
market?
oh.
It's black market.
Somebody was saying it to me yesterday.
That is 400 and
That's
something.
Oh, we'll check.
dropped. Because naira,
will
dollar is
confirm.
available and naira is scarce now.
Okay,
Is
we'll
that
find
our guest highlighted something, and I think that is something that we haven't spoken about before, is that before this policy, the cashless policy system had already been failing. But because we had options, we did not notice. Bank ATMs, they will have 6 ATMs and only maybe 1 or 2 are working. There's no proper channel to complain that these ATMs, why are they not working? ATMs are out of service. We already have a failing infrastructure. Sometimes you get into the banking hall and you cannot use their
staff,
system. They'll say the system is down.
Yeah.
Inside the banking hall, you have to wait until it comes back up. So if we had all these problems, maybe because we did not escalate it, we kept tolerating it. When the CBN felt like we were okay, so he made a new
Their duty
policy.
to know.
And now there is a major
It is
crisis.
their duty to know, not my own duty.
Let me take this call.
Reports.
Me, I'm a customer.
Let me take this call. Adeyemi from Ogun State. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, good morning. I
You're
am
live.
here.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this cash policy, it's a good policy, but the implementation is zero. You cannot run this kind of policy parallel. You do one first and then execute the other gradually. So you are trying to redesign the naira, and you are also trying to achieve a cashless policy when all the things that are required, like all the modes of alternative payments, are not put in place. I mean, who does that? And for Dr. Shittu to come and speak without empathy, I'm shocked. The suffering is too much.
Right.
You know, thank you, Moyo. Thank you, Morayo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Adeyemi. So I'm getting word here from the Supreme Court. It's breaking news. We're still going to wait to get more information, but just about 18 minutes ago, breaking news, Supreme Court temporary halts the banning of old naira notes. According to, let me see, the ruling here, Justice Okoro held that after a careful consideration of the motion ex parte, this application is granted as prayed an order of interim injunction restraining the federal government through the Central Bank of Nigeria, all the commercial banks from suspending or determining ending February 10, 2023, the time frame with which the now older version 200, 500, 1,000 denomination of the naira may no longer be a legal tender, pending the hearing and determination of their motion on notice for interlocutory injunction. So, obviously, from based on what the Supreme Court has said, Friday cannot be the deadline for the notes to be a legal tender.
There's nothing higher than Supreme
And
Court
that's
now.
it. So make sure you can sit down.
You said it with so much joy.
Maybe you can sit down. I can spend my money on Saturday. Maybe I'm going to collect my money from my head.
What emefiele has done.
I'm saying.
He has brought a financial policy decision like this to the courts to decide.
I'm saying.
This embarrassing.
Isn't it interesting how the proceedings were so quick?
Yeah, it's ex parte now. What does that mean?
No, that wasn't expected.
That it went.
It was so quick, yes, because we are in a crisis.
Some matters you don't have to go from the court of first instance. You go
straight to the Supreme Court.
Because there are matters of urgence, national
There's a countdown.
So,
what does this mean for our election?
That's not, no, it could be that also. But the one that pains me is what, you know, the caller talked about, what YK has.
What does it mean for the people?
Well,
We are
that's
also,
most
we also
important.
focus on the election. We want to steal our
That's
money.
the
We want to
most
steal.
important.
The people that are suffering, we are just
CBN
overlook
cannot
them
sit on
and say because of
policies
election.
without ironing out other issues.
Yes.
Failing e-system has been on forever.
Yes.
You were creating alternatives that Nigerians did not do. Then the next thing you bring these three policies at once.
All right, so at
At
least,
once, so just like that.
yes. You
So
want
that
us,
everybody has headache.
you are emefiele.
Those who those
Yeah.
who don't have headache have stomach pain,
So,
hunger pain.
I'm telling you.
Everything is disturbing.
So good news for Nigerians. If indeed this breaking news, I'm happy. At least we've been talking all day because of this matter. The
All
past
week,
few
sir.
weeks, this week, last week, is the same matter we've been discussing on your
We
view.
are tired
We can't
of
discuss marriage
discussing
matter again on something. It's emefiele.
Marriage, how can you even marry when there's no money to marry?
Yes,
We can't-
nobody
we
should be
can't
ready
talk
now.
about
There's
that.
no fuel. I don't want to
We can't discuss parenting.
Nobody should get
Even me, I
married.
can't spray a party. Now I have to hold my money. Okay, well, this is your naira.
Which spray?
But party, just transfer 10K, happy birthday, because I cannot. But Nigerians, here, there you have it. Supreme Court has said that they cannot have February 10th as a deadline. We can continue to use the old naira notes as legal tender after it's temporary though. That means the case, they're still allowing the CBN policy would hold, but it's obviously they need to review the date at which we can then stop using those notes as legal tender. I think that's all we can take on today's show.
Please don't forget our
And
Valentine!
yes, Valentine is coming. What is your
So we have we're getting lots of inquiries. I mean, it's selling pretty fast. Yeah, well, let's take a few tweets before we run off, please.
Here he says
Friday
dollar
night.
was 750 last week, 745 now. Maybe it's the 4 in there that is causing confusion. Or maybe people have connection to buying it at the CBA. Jide Larry they says breaking news: Supreme Court ordered the ban to use the old naira notes on. All the ban to use the old naira notes on February 10.
Let me take this call. It's been holding for a while. Good morning. Are you there? Our final call this morning. Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
my
you're
name
live.
is Sadiq. Good morning. My
Good morning,
name is
Sadiq.
Sadiq from Kano State.
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you. To me, my contribution is that maybe this country will have made mistakes. Yes, because why our governor, central bank governor, why he did not use the method that our former governor, central bank governor, used that time, the time they changed our Nigerian notes? Because this country, we need a prayer. It's not like Tinubu is the one that can rule this country. Tinubu is the one that will rule this country. We need to go back to God, and God will help us in this country.
Sadiq.
Yes.
I don't
yes.
I don't want you to go because I want you to understand. It's our job to make you understand. The CBN's objective is to get all the plenty money out there, bring it into the banking system so we can trace it. Kidnappers were collecting money.
I understand.
You understand that part?
See, like
Okay.
yesterday, I want to go back home. I don't have cash.
Okay.
It's one of the beggar when they come to my shop, come and beg. It's the one give me money
Yeah.
to transport myself, go out yesterday. That is why I said we need prayer in this country. God will help
what
Nigeria.
the Supreme Court has done, he said that you can continue to use your naira notes as a legal tender. That's one. Now, what we're going to try to do is to get them to either increase the number we can get from the amount we can get from the ATM, so that someone like you can have money, because this is a Nigeria, he's frustrated. But I want him to understand what the policy is and the issue so that we are not confused. Yes, prayer is important, but it's important that...
Let me just have
It's
cash.
not policy issue that concerns him. Why would I have worked so hard and I'm suffering
To get my money.
plenty? That's all that concerns him.
Somebody
We need to wrap
else
up,
is saying she deposited all her own naira notes. Now she cannot get her money that she wants to spend.
transfer is
You know,
not
if I have 100,000 and then I need 10,000, and when I get to the bank, you can only give me 2,000. That's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have to wrap up, but we have to use the opportunity again to remind our viewers of our Valentine Hangout, February 17th. The tickets are selling as fast. We've gotten quite a number of people paid already. We'd like many people to come, but we can only take 50 couples, only 50 couples. So please go to our social media pages. Mine is Mariah Brown
TMO speaks.
Auntie.
Akashat.
Yeni Kuti.
Yeni Ekuti.
Yeni Ekuti. Please go to our Instagram pages.
Get all the details.
Get all the details, the numbers to call, so you can get
hang out with
Insta,
us on
because
Valentine's.
we like to hang
Trust
out
me,
with
you want to come and hang out at this hangout. You just want to come.
All right.
God, let there be naira
We
by
have
then.
prizes.
Amen, amen.
We have
Have a lovely day. I'll
Promise
see you guys
food.
tomorrow. Bye for now.